What's going on, guys? I'm Dobry and this is our Guardian Girl. It's about time I've launched that video. Now, I have waited and waited and none of the changes I have been waiting on happened. Still no Ascended Jewelry crafting, still no Ferocity change, still no second sigil on two-handed weapons change, so yeah. I think that's about enough, because as you see, I also made Twilight for the Guardian, so the two-handed weapon changes with the second sigil and such would affect me big time. I would have enjoyed seeing one by now, but I'm all done with the gear, I'm all done with everything, so I think it's right about time we made the video. So, as I said in the sneak peek, I got the idea of the 3-in-1 Guardian because of the second Guardian that I made for map completion, which I deleted. Yeah, I don't really need it, but the thing is, I enjoy having this 3-in-1 build, because let's face it, you are so flexible, you can do anything on the fly, you can be amazing everywhere. So if you are with a DPS party and you want to go DPSC, you just switch a couple of traits around, you just switch a couple of stats around on the legendaries, and you go in and kill stuff. If you want to be more tanky, you just keep the old dungeon tank type of build, because yeah, right now pretty much everything has changed in terms of precision and selecting traits, because yeah, let's face it, we are no longer like that 25 0 30 15 or something like this. So in essence, all about the 3-in-1 Guardian is to go anywhere, do anything, and no need to have any downtime like sorry guys, can I go retrade, can I do this, guys, gotta go jump to the city, and yeah, you won't be like this. You will just open the windows, click 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 very quickly, like this, and you will re-equip yourself. The only thing you'll probably be needing to is selecting stats on the weapons, if you have legendaries, of course. If not, simple weapons like those will be quite alright. So now I do understand this is a build for advanced players, but you can still make a 3-in-1 only with the ascended gear that I have here, the Knight Zerker Valkyrie combination. You can do it if you want to try. So okay, let's go into detail. All about this build that should pique the interest of the people is the tankiness when necessary, the DPS when necessary. If you've seen the values at the end of the 3-in-1 sneak peek, you would know what I'm going for, and those values are exactly the same as I got to in after I've finished the entire gear. So this will be a longer video. So I will most likely split it into segments, just so you can jump easily from the menus in YouTube and see whatever you want to see, if you want to see it, of course. So alrighty, let's see what will we do about the segments. So if you haven't selected a segment, we'll just jump into the first build. That's the very quick outline of the changes in the Dungeon Tank Guardian build with the new traits. Okay guys, you've all seen this. This is the good old Dungeon Tank Guardian setup with Power, Toughness, Vitality on weapons and accessories, and Sentinel for Vitality as main stat on armor. Now, I am not going to make the Sentinel armor into an Ascended one. It's just good enough as it is. If you wish, you can do it, but to me that's more than enough. I don't really need any more of that. I don't really see any reason to get any more hit points and such, the way that things stand. This is my, how to put it, my zerging setup right now. I have stopped using it all that heavily for dungeons. This is my zerging setup, because in a zerg, the best thing you can do as a guardian is support it. And, of course, if you're tanky, go up there and start attacking the boss or the other enemies first. So, as I said, since this is a setup for zerging, that's perfect for the world boss train, for example, if you do it on your servers, and for world versus world. In both cases, you need to be useful, and you need to have the zerg be useful to you. So what would that mean? You'll be useful how? Whether that's the world boss train or that's world versus world, you are surrounded by many people, so the best way to help them is using shouts and probably the staff. That's especially valid for world versus world, because let's face it, what are the most important things that the guardian can do in world versus world? Empower and stability. It's all about stability, empower, and some protection. This already gives a big boost to the 5 people that are around you in your zerg. So, however, we also said that the zerg must be useful to you. So, what does that mean? Let's go look at the traits first. So, Signet Mastery on the Radiance tree. Now, the Radiance tree isn't all that useful when it comes to zerging, but those 10%, those 100 precision here, puts us at 9% critical chance, and since many people are buffing the party and the people around with Fury and such, you will actually be looking at almost 30% crit chance with those 30% crit damage that we otherwise not use. This is very nice. Besides, you also have save yourselves, and this is also a 10-second Fury. So that's very nice. That's a good change. And besides, it also makes your Signet of Resolve, which is like the best heal in the game, down to 32 second heal down from 40, so that's also amazing. And besides, even if you decide to play with those two signets like myself, I always use the Bane signet whenever I need more damage in order to get my loot and such, or to help a smaller Zerg on our part against a bigger Zerg on the enemy's part. So this is a nice knockdown, and it's some damage, and right now, and not to mention, take a look at the range. It's a 2-second knockdown over 1200 range. That's huge. You can drop quite a number of people on the ground just using that stupid Bane signet, especially in World vs. World. And that's a 32-second recharge right now. The other option, my Signet of Judgment, which I also use heavily, that turns into a 24-second stun breaker. First, it's a stun breaker, it's retaliation, it's weakness, it helps in any aspect, especially if you're like in World vs. World and you're Zerg vs. Zerg. Okay, that's the Signet Mastery here. Anything else isn't all that important, but at least the condition damage is boosting our Virtue of Justice, because we will be burning with every couple of attacks. Alrighty, we've talked about this. Let's go very quickly in the Valor tree. In the Valor tree I made one change, and this gives another 2-pronged change to the build. So the number 4 trait, Strength in Numbers, remains. The Honorable Shield remains, especially because I read some gossips and some weird informations that this toughness boost will be up to 150. Let's see if that will happen. It might happen, it might not. We'll see. Let's see. However, here I went for Altruistic Healing. This is what makes you useful to the party and the Zerg and everything, and this is what makes in turn the Zerg useful to you. So if you are going up there and you are tanking Grant, Dwayne, fire shaman, or everything that's a hard hitter, you need to heal effectively. So you need your boons that you're giving both to yourself and the Zerg to help you as well. This is also huge with the staff, because just equip the staff, hit empower, and see how much will heal yourself. This is pretty much like something like 3000 heal or something. Might go even higher. So the other option, and you know this one, is the Mace of Justice. If I know that I'm safe and I need more power, I will just go Mace of Justice, because let's face it, if you want your loot, you want to tag as many enemies as possible, and the Symbol of Fate is a very useful tool for that. So this will also raise the damage on the Symbol of Fate as well a bit. So if you need to fight lots of small enemies, like let's say if you're doing a Ra, you want to have as much damage as possible, and you want to drop as many symbols as possible, so you can tag as many enemies and get their loot, of course. So those are the two options on this tree, on this trait. So the thing is, altruistic healing is a huge bonus, especially if you're using shouts, and this is why we're using shouts. It's also a huge. It has also a huge synergy with the Rite of Persistence, because it makes every symbol last longer, and if that symbol gives a boon, you get its healing. Because just look at this. Here, the symbol of rat is granting retaliation to allies. So both here, and let's say on a staff. Here you get you get swiftness to the party, so it's a boon. This is a boon. Pretty much everything you're using is based on boons. So altruistic healing works in great synergy with all of those. Here for the last Grandmaster trait, I went for two-handed mastery. Now you can still go for Rite of the Merciful, and it's a good one, but since I got used to playing with the greatsword and the staff a lot, I'm kind of feeling lazy and just leaving that trait here, because whenever you're switching weapons, you always have at least one two-handed weapon equipped on you, so this trait is working perfectly. Because let's face it, if you want to do more damage in an event, there is no better way to go than the greatsword. The greatsword has lots of damaging options, and whenever you need to kick back and get some healing and get some protection, you can always switch to the mace and the shield. So that's the good old dungeon tank guard build, which right now is a build for playing in a Zerg. As I said, its entire usefulness is all about helping the Zerg with boons, and in return getting tons of heals from them, so you can effectively tank anything that moves in front of you. Because let's face it, you're a guardian. You're not supposed to sit behind and let someone else jump in and do the tanking for you. This is why you go in there, you go up there, you face tank the boss, and everyone else is much more safe and secure while you're doing it. All in all, those are the changes I made to this build, and this is all the situations I have started using in. So, all in all, to conclude, it's still a very, very nice and solid build. Alrighty, we're done with this one. Let's continue to the third version. To the second version, actually, yeah. Because the second and the third version are using pretty much the same setup. Alrighty. Okay guys, I have switched my gear around for this part of the video. That's the second version of the build. And this is a setup that you can use for many things if you decide to make one yourself. Well, the only thing I don't like is that I'm using the stupid Ascended skin. Because if I do this... What do you think about that? I personally think that I have just went to my neighbor's house, plucked his fence off, and put it on my head. It's like terrible. And not to mention that, it's not only that. Look here. Who has lips on their butt? What am I trying to say? Kiss my ass? Or something? Oh boy. However, that's an argument for a different day. And let's get directly into the build, come on. I've ranted enough about the Ascended stuff. Okay, so here we are using a mixture of Knight, Valkyrie, and Zerker stuff. I have Berserker stats on all my weapons, and I have Berserker stats on my back piece. Here those two, the leftovers from the old build, are precision based. Those are Knight with precision, because there is Knight with toughness as main. And everything else here is Zerker with Valkyrie, because I am going for that 49-50% value, and let's face it, it's actually 50, but it's rounded down because that's what the game does. I also have my food, as you see. The most important thing is always consider your builds with food, because as soon as you get a player that has that makes more money easily, always consider your builds with food, because that doesn't cost you all that much. And let's face it, that food that I'm using, the sweet and spicy butternut squash soup, is 1 hour food. It's not a 30-minute one, so you get most of it, because you can use it once and you can go do like a couple of dungeons or go slap a number of people. However, okay, that's all about the food, because as you saw the numbers at the end of my video, the 3-in-1 sneak peek, you saw that that's exactly the hit points we'll be looking at, that's exactly the armor we'll be looking at, that's supposed to be 50. And everything else is exactly the way that I've posted it. So it fits the general calculations and the project outlines perfectly. So here we have Knight, Valkyrie, 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 Knight, Valkyrie. So that's pretty much a even mixture of Knight, Zerker, and Valkyrie stuff, because those two are Knight, those two are Knight, these four are Valkyrie, this I consider as Zerkers, plus the weapons are also Zerker. So all in all, you are looking at plenty of damage. If you decide to be a bit careful while doing it, because let's face it, I consider this build the careful DPSer, because you want to be protected. You want to feel safe while DPSing, because you don't want to be a 2.1 or 2.4k armor guardian who gets hit twice and starts lying on the ground waiting for the others to raise him. You're not supposed to be like that. So how do we make this type of guardian useful? First we go meditations. That's the easiest thing. Meditations are what allows you to go for to face tank, pretty much. Because meditations give you heals, and what's better, let's start one by one. The Radiance tree, you have blind exposure. Inflicting blindness also applies vulnerability. So that's vulnerability, which means even more damage, but you also have tons of blindness. This is blindness. Thanks to this mini trait, this is also blindness. And you have two more blindness options here. This allows you to pretty much disable an enemy. Both anywhere, whatever you do, whatever you go, you can disable an enemy very substantially, and while you DPS him down safely. Alrighty, Valor Tree. This is the very simple setup for meditations. Meditation mastery for reduced recharge, focused mind for fury, and meditations heal you, because this turns all your 4 skills here into heals. You have Smite condition, which is both damage and heal and fury, and if it was a stun breaker that would have been the most overpowered thing in the game. And it's only 16-second recharge. That's a freaking 2k heal over 16 seconds. And you also get damage and crit chance on it. That's amazing. Then comes the judge's intervention. It's damage, it's burning, it's fire, it's healing, it's everything, and you can port yourself to like 1.2k range. Even if someone's running or something's running or whoever's running, you can go there, you can DPS it till the end, and that's that. Then comes the contemplation of purity. Converts conditions you are using into boons. That's healing, that's fury, and that converts all of the conditions. If you're suffering for like 5 conditions, they will turn all into boons with their stacks. So if you have like 25 stacks of bleed, those will turn into protection, not protection, those will turn into regeneration. Pretty much they're reciprocal. For example, if you suffer for bleeding, bleeding turns into regeneration. If you suffer from poison, it will turn into protection and stuff like this. So all in all, those 3 skills are very useful. The Litany of Wrath is a very nice heal because it's like a 3.8k heal plus some of the damage dealt is returned to you as healing, and you will be doing lots of damage, especially if you time it with Warning Wrath. All in all, those are the skills in the Valor tree, and here we go into the Honor tree. Now, this is one of the things I like. So here we don't have all that many decent traits, because Aegis heals on removal is stupid. I don't like Protective Reviver unless I really want to know what to do. I really want to do something, and the Shield of Absorption is kind of cool, but no. Thing is, okay, let's call it the Wrathful Spirit. Let's go for the Wrathful Spirit. Aegis gives retaliation when it ends. You have 2 Aegises. You have an Aegis which you're using, which is your base, and you have your Virtue of Courage that gives you another Aegis. So you have 2 options to get some retaliation and both do damage and force people to stop attacking you. However, I really like running with Superior Area, especially if I know that I'm in a dungeon that has tons of control effects, or if I'm doing World versus World. Why? Smite condition is an awesome thing. What it does not have is a stun breaker. So I like switching that with Save Yourselves, because Save Yourselves is a 3rd stun breaker. This is a stun breaker, this is a stun breaker, and this is a stun breaker. One of the things that people, especially in World vs. World, won't mind and won't hesitate at all is to use their control conditions on you. Especially if you're facing a stupid 6 fear build on the Necros. Come on. That guy can disable you pretty much permanently, the way it is. So, in essence, this is also very valid for some dungeons where there are tons of control effects. You need to get off that ground quickly. So, all in all, that's how I am trying to do it, because let's face it, the meditations are okay, but they need to be boosted a bit. For example, Empowering Might. All your meditations and heals will get boosted by some might, so you'll do even more damage. And here, since I'm lazy, I just slapped in the Two-Handed Mastery, because sometimes it's much easier to run around with Greatsword and Staff. And that's also especially valid in World vs. World. Alrighty, so let's ask ourselves the last thing then. What do I want to do with this build? Where do I take it? What do I do with it? This build I'm using for PvE. This build I'm using for a couple of dungeons. And I am using this build to poach camps in and keeps in World vs. World. Now, I'm not saying I'm a commander in World vs. World, I'm a bad one, and I don't play all that much World vs. World, as you know. But whenever I am in World vs. World, this is what I'm using. Especially if you go Greatsword and Staff, because if you have a small party, empowering them and protecting them with the staff and such is a tad better. Now, as far as dungeons go and world versus world goes, I have one more option in this build, which is very easy to switch between. And this is what the next segment of the video will cover. Okay guys, down to the last part of the 3-in-1 build. This is my world versus world and dungeons build. Why is that? Because I am back to using shouts. If you're in world versus world and if you're in the commander's channel, you will hear stuff constantly like Guardians pop stability, Guardians empower, Guardians this, Guardians that, and that's why we are using this. That's why I also switched to the staff. Because with those two things you can gain the most out of this setup. Because as you can probably already surmised, we are going to use altruistic healing. And as you see, as long as you're on the great sword, you are looking at 48% crit chance, and that's without the maintenance oil food. So I waited on purpose till the maintenance oils run out, and I'm only using the 100 power 10% crit damage food here. Why is that? Because this option, especially in dungeons and in world versus world, allows you to use the sharpening stones. And since we've already stacked on toughness and vitality, now look at that. I think we managed to get ourselves some very decent amount of power. And even if I decide to get even bolder and say, okay, I'm not doing world versus world and there are not many control effects, I can go like this. And there you go, 2.4k base, before you've ever started stacking the might. This transforms you into a lot of damage. This is why in this setup, the shouts and greatsword staff setup, you can actually stack a lot of power. However, you will not have as much criticals. That's the only setback and the only difference between the two builds, but this one is a bit more protected. This is why I said, to me, that's the build for dungeons and for world versus world. I used the previous variation of the build for PvE, for some dungeons, and if I want to poach stuff in world versus world. That's the difference. This one is exclusively dungeons and world versus world, because in PvE you don't get all that much from these shouts, because you do need people around to use altruistic healing properly. And since I said I'm going for altruistic healing, you will probably notice just a very tiny difference between the builds, because here we still have the Signet Mastery, because we want that heal. We still use Strength in Numbers, because this will turn our Guardian into even stronger when tanking. This is like already a 2.9k armor, which allows you to tank better in dungeons. The retributive armor is awesome because here we convert toughness to precision, because let's face it, there are not all that many traits that can be useful to us in this case, because we don't use great hammers, so the shield is not necessary, we're not using meditations for fury and such. This is the best trait that frees you the spot that you usually use for maintenance oil to get more power. And this is what makes this version of the build slightly more powerful. No, well, I would say on the average, but powerful not as in pure damage. It's powerful in its survivability and the ability to sustain your damage. And here, of course, we go for altruistic healing, because we are using boons. Here, nothing new. Here we are using boons. Empowering might is a must, because we are going to crit now and then. That will be even more heals, that will be even more might to the party and such. And of course the two-handed mastery. Nothing new here, nothing special, but this setup is extremely effective in dungeons, fractals, and in world versus world if you're zerging. That's pretty much the only time when I'm using it, because let's face it, all you want to do in those places is survive, do as much damage as possible, and do stuff quickly. all in all, I do not think that anything else can be said about this third version of the setup, because we covered pretty much all of the basics in the second one. All about the power, all about the armor, the hit points and such. You are looking at pretty much the same thing as the second option, but without the fury, unless you account for save yourselves. But come on, if you're doing dungeons, there are pretty much a warrior. In pretty much every part there's a warrior who's running fury, so you won't have all that big of a downtime. So here you will have a single fury, so you can crit more. And let's face it, 48% crit chance should be like 1 and 2, so you won't be all that bad at critting, you know. Well, alrighty then. All in all, those are the things, those are the 3 parts of the 3-in-1 Guardian that I have been using. As you see, it's all about switching the traits around, and it's all about using a gear that will supplement those traits. I think I will end this portion of the video here, because I do want to cover one more option. Since I do not expect everyone to have Sentinel, which is just so expensive, and I will give you one more option with this very same trait setup, and not trait setup, actually the armor setup, for a 100% crit chance build. So be back in a few. So guys, as promised, I have something else for you. Since, as I said, I'm not expecting everyone to just go crazy on Sentinel gear and such, because it's extremely expensive right now, I have prepared one more build, however with slightly different traits, but with the same setup. Like, we still have the Knight Zerker, Knight Valkyrie Zerker combination of armor and jewels, along with the sword and the focus that I'm still that will be using. But I put here the Moot and the Flameseeker Prophecies, because I need one-handed weapons. A scepter is working well for this one, especially if you want to attack an enemy and bring it to you, because it also counts as a right-hand weapon. But I am talking way too much about the right-hand weapon. And you might be asking yourself, what is that supposed to mean? Now, here, as I said, this is going to be a 100% crit chance build. Here we're looking at 64 because it's rounded down. Of course, we need our foot. We need our precision foot, and we need our 100 precision, 100 critical damage, 10% critical damage foot. So I still want my 100% crit damage. I'm not going to fall below that value, because I want to do as much damage as possible. Of course, we're squishy. We still have the armor, but we have less hit points, so we really need to be careful about it. So, okay, how do we get to 100% crit chance here? Here we have 64%. You are already seeing the meditations, right? Right. So here you are seeing the meditations, and every meditation is heal plus fury. So fury is going to give us 20% over that 64, so we're looking at 84. However, here we had to change traits for this one though. If you want to use this build, you have to change your traits. So it's not a part of the 3-in-1 build, but it is using the same armor setup as before, so you can pretty much use this one if you are okay with spending like 3 silver for retreating and before you go out to DPS and kill stuff and such. So here we have right hand strength, and this is exactly what I was saying when I meant right hand. So we have 64, which is actually 65 rounded down. We have 65% plus 15%, which is 80, plus 20% from fury, and there are your freaking 100% crit chance at all times. However, for that we are forced to use 2 one-handed weapons. Like, I'm using the mace and the sword because I want to burst everyone as quickly as possible. For example, like, port to the enemy, use this, switch, use the symbol of fate for more damage, use any of these. So It depends. It will be very much up to you how you want to play your build, but in any case, we are going to use everything that we used in our other build, because here you have blind exposure for for this and this, and the virtue of justice. Now you lose the blind exposure bonus for 3 more stacks of vulnerability on the greatsword, but we cannot use greatsword. I'm sorry guys, we cannot use greatsword because we need that right hand strength trait. Because look, the guys made something really good. You can see your critical chance increase as a bonus in every one of those in each and every one of those weapon skills right now. So you know that you are actually doing those 15% extra. For Valor, now we covered everything here. Deal more damage with foes inflicted with conditions. Now, okay, I will cover the mini traits very quickly because we didn't have them in the other build. So since you'll be getting your vulnerability in, that's already a condition. So you have a 10% flat damage increase. Thank you very much. Virtue of Justice is renewed when you kill a foe. That's also quite nice because this is your Virtue of Justice. If you kill quickly, you can use this pretty much every time. Every time. You kill something, the Virtue of Justice is renewed and you can use it as a blind on the next target. You kill it, you use it as a blind on the next one, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much allowing you to play with a constant Virtue of Justice up. Here, nothing new, that's the meditation setup. Monk's Focus, Focus Mind, Meditation Mastery, that's that. Thing is, I have never managed to get a a decent trait here. An adept trait that to give me enough reason to select something apart from those two. Now, Vigorous Precision, gain vigor when you get a critical hit. That's very nice because since you are going to be a bit squishier, you will need to dodge. And you need those 2 bars as full as possible. And here, since we'll be using our virtues, you might as well get Inspired Virtue, because every time you use a virtue, you get a small boost. For example, let's say you like to use the Virtue of Justice a lot because of the synergy with that trait. Every time when you use the Virtue of Justice, you're going to get yourself 3 stacks of might. And that's already more damage. Atop the 100% crit chance and crit damage that you'll be doing extra. So all in all, that's how this build is made. I don't think it's extremely necessary to go into heavy detail, but if you want to kill stuff very quickly, very efficiently, that's the way to do it. Setbacks. Only 13k hit points. That's a huge setback because you will be much squishier. You will, at least with the 16k hit points, especially if you take a couple of hard hits, you have time to react, you have time to pop your meditations. But sometimes here, if you get 1-2 hit, you don't really have the time to react with your meditations and you'll be sitting on the ground dying. And that's not something that I like to see. But on the other hand, you have 1 regen here, you have protection here, you have protection and single hit damage mitigation. Here you have your blindness, here you have another blindness, here you have 3 hits absorption, and if those rumors are true, the ones I've been hearing, this Shield of Wrath will start absorbing 5 hits and not 3 in short time. But I don't know, I can't be certain, I don't want to give you any stupid information that is not going to happen and in the end lie to you. Okay, so this build, where can we use it? So if you were a guardian that like to use mace and shield like me, it's very easy to switch to this build. Because you would already have a mace and a shield, you only need to make a sword and a focus, you only need to swap a couple of traits around and you'll be perfectly okay to do PV and pretty much destroy everything in no time. Because let's face it, having that 100% crit chance and that 100% crit damage amounts to 2.5 times the amount of damage you'll be doing on average. and that's a lot. This will make you pretty much stomp every enemy in no time in basic PvE and in some dungeons, especially if you have someone to boost you a bit and give you a couple of bonuses, because here, as I said, we no longer have that 150 armor bonus from toughness, because we are using our meditations. But all in all, if you want to go all out DPS while being a tad careful and considering your armor and squishiness, that's in my opinion the way to go. I am also running around with this build now and then, especially if I want to kill stuff quickly or farm materials or something like this, because I know I can survive in PvE. The only thing I want then is fast killing. It's as simple as that. Well, I hope you liked this fourth, technically, version of the build, which and at the same time third, because we're using the same armor, so... Well, I hope you liked it. I hope you find it interesting, because I think there is a small room for improvement on this one. There are a couple of things I think I overlooked, but I wanted and I made it a point to use the same setup, because I really don't want to have like 3 or 4 sets of armor. Because let's face it, it's always best when you have one thing and you use it all the time. Well, alright, okay guys, I'm just gonna stop this part of the video here, and let's see what we made in the end. That's that, guys. I think this is where our video should end. To conclude, this is the way I have been playing my Guardian, this is the way I've gotten used to playing my Guardian, and this is the way I feel comfortable with my Guardian. It was a long process, I changed lots of builds, I grew a lot while learning how to play it, and that's what I... that's what I managed to do over the past year. It did open lots of my horizons, I did learn a lot, and I'm very happy to have selected a Guardian as my main. Thing is, I am not really sure that I'll be making any more Guardian videos after this one, because the thing is, I think this option, this gear, this setup is based on doing everything that I want to do, and be everywhere that I want to be. This is why I have been asking myself, what next? Well, and the only answer I can think of, since I already made a couple of legendaries, and since I already made a couple of builds and such, I don't think, unless something really huge happens, I will make another video for the Guardian. However, I am getting interested in the Warrior right now, because that 100% crit chance built on the Guardian forced me to think about and get creative about the Warrior. And I think I managed to get something interesting there. It's a 100% crit chance, 100% crit damage, 3.2k armor, which is a seriously overpowered. It's like a tank with... huge crits. I'm going to think and look at the project a bit more. I may make a video about it, or I may not. We'll see. For now, I wish you a good day, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and take care and stay safe, and enjoy Guild Wars 2 the way it is. Goodbye.